Welcome to the Jill Sinclair Show, where I bring you real conversations about business and life to help you to uncover your success blockers. So this show is real, it's raw, it's uncut, it's uncensored, because guess what? We're humans and we are all uncut and uncensored. And that is what makes us beautifully us. So my first question came in today, and that is from Carly. And Carly asks, do you need a mentor or a business coach? Well, Carly, my answer to you is no, you don't. You absolutely do not need a mentor or a business coach. Do I recommend you get one? It depends on your personality. So what are your goals, first of all? What are your business goals, Carly? Are they that big, hairy, audacious goals, like the enormous ones that you would find it hard to achieve on your own? Or are they the simple goals of, getting a new job? And when I say simple, I mean not hard, just putting in the effort. Is it something about getting into a new line of work? What are your goals, and are they achievable on your own? How much of that temporary motivation do you have? We talked about motivation the other week and how the motivation is elusive. It is like a unicorn. It doesn't exist. You need to be fiercely committed to yourself, because motivation, it's something that is really hard to find and it's really hard to keep. So with a business coach, oftentimes what I do as an executive coach is I hold people highly, highly accountable. And what does that mean? That means that we come together, we decide on what their goals are, and how are they going to reach their goals? What help do they need from me? Do they need me to introduce them to people? Do they need me to be a part of their meetings with their staff? What do they need from me to help them to achieve their goals? So again, it's not always about, the business coach comes in and rah, hiss, boom, bye, and woo, gets you all ramped up. That could potentially be a part of it, because again, it's all about, the temporary motivation that gets you started and the commitment that gets you going through and carrying on. So again, I'd look at what your personality type is first, Carly, and see if you actually are motivated and committed enough to yourself to get you moving to the next level. Now, mentors, I have never had an official mentor. I've never had someone that has taken me on or under their wing, if you will. I know there was a woman when I was in, one of my first careers was in human resources. And by the way, I've had over 66 jobs in my lifetime. Again, neither applause-worthy or cringe-worthy, just a fact. So one of my jobs was in human resources at our large hospital here in Vancouver, Canada. And I was a clerk. And I was coming in from the valley, so it was like an hour drive. And I remember I wanted to get there early, so I started the early shift, which I kind of created at 7 a.m. I worked 7 till 3:30. And the manager of HR was a woman, and she was also coming in at 7 in the morning. And so I got to know her a little bit, and she became, in some ways, someone that I looked up to, because she was the most powerful woman in HR at that time. And that was quite a few years ago, people. And she would also come in, she'd make cookies, she'd make muffins, she would do these things that were very caring and nurturing. And then she would very easily, in my eyes anyways, easily fire someone for not performing. So she was someone who had the power. She also had the empathy and the sympathy. So for me, that really imprinted in my mind how I wanted to be as a business person, years forward here. So with me, I want to lead with empathy. I want to lead with sympathy. And I also want to lead with firmness as well as accountability. Because that's what business coaching is, and mentorship is to a certain extent. Because mentorship has that component of it's different levels, really. So you can have a mentor that might introduce you to people in business. They might introduce you to different opportunities. They might give you some advice, or you look at what they've done in life. Whereas a business coach, they're going to be in your life. They're going to be someone who is a part of everything they should be a part if you're paying them. If you're paying them well, they should be a part of everything that you do, because they're holding you accountable through this process. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to be a babysitter, because you do not need a babysitter, I'll tell you that much for sure. If you need someone to hold you accountable to get you to the next steps, then absolutely, yes, you do need one. Now, my other question, and we're always going to be forming on the same lines of things, just to make sure we're having the same subject matter for each podcast. Now, my other question is from Adam. Adam says, Jill, I am I've been asked to be a mentor with younger people at work. Should I accept that role? It's volunteering. Well, Adam, you should. You should accept that role if you've been asked and you feel like you're capable of helping others. Now, one thing that I do with my mentorship, I mentor 4 boys right now who are the ages 18 and 19, and it's with the East End Boys Club. So most of the boys that belong to this club are very highly marginalized. They are coming from poverty. They're coming from abusive homes. They're coming from really hard situations. A lot of them come from a gang life. So with me mentoring these 4 boys separately, I have to understand where they're coming from. I have to understand, not that I can ever put myself in their shoes or in their place, but to listen to them and listen to what their specific challenges are. Because if I don't understand how their mind is working through these, how do I understand how to help them and how to mentor them? So for me as a business coach, I'm stepping into this at a greater level because of my skill sets, and I'm able to help them with their business decisions in regards to what profession they might want to try, how they should approach their school, all those other kinds of things. So for me, being a mentor, I take it damn seriously. I say it's life or death. And every time I enter into a mentorship or into a business coaching situation, what I do with all of these people I'm in contact with is I ask them, between 1 and 10, how blunt can I be in my honesty? Because I'm always going to be honest with you, always honest. How blunt, though, can I be in that honesty? And it's so funny. People are always like, Jill, you can be a 12. I'm like, honey, you can't. You couldn't handle my 7. So establish that from the very beginning when you're mentoring people, and understand in the mentorship aspect of life, you're more of a listener. You do what you hold space for them. You hold space for people in regards to listening, and not listening to respond. You're listening so you digest it and understand them a little bit better. And then when they ask for your opinion or they need your counsel, then you bring it forward. So being a mentor is like that. It's almost like it's more of well, they're both caring relationships for sure, but a mentorship is someone, just imagine that you're holding someone close, you're helping them, you're set side by side with them, and you're more listening and trying to understand where they're coming from. So in the mentorship aspect, you have to put the time in and be committed to that as well, because especially with younger people, you can't be flighty and take the call one week and not take the call the next week. Set up a schedule, whether it's going to be a once a month, once a week, whatever it is. Set up that schedule, Adam, and make sure that you hold to it and you commit to it. Because these young people need to understand that your commitment to them is going to be solid and they can count on you. Because with these young boys that I'm mentoring, these young men that I'm mentoring, it makes such a difference that they know that emphatically I'm either going to be dead or in the hospital if I'm not on the call with them, if I'm not on that Zoom with them. And once we get to meet all in person, I've met a couple of them physically distanced, but once we're able to meet on a regular basis, we're going to be able to hold each other more accountable in our relationship, because we're going to have that connection. So work with that, establish a very firm schedule that you can, obviously it's going to be flexible, but understand that you're going to be having a be very intentional. Adam, be very intentional in your conversation. So you're understanding, hey, what do you expect from this mentorship? Simply ask them that, because oftentimes they're not going to know. So you're going to say, oh, okay, well, this is my first time mentoring. I'm a great businessman in this sense or businesswoman, whoever else is going to be interested to hear this conversation. But you need to have your very clear expectations and intentions at the very beginning. So what does it look like in the time frame? What does it look like in the accountability? And what does it look like in the results? What do they need? Some people might need a little bit more than others. So play with that and see what's going to work best for them. And again, at the very beginning, the expectations must be clearly laid out. What do they expect from you? Do they want to be able to call you every single day if they need to? Do they want to call you once a month? Do you want them to submit to you an email summary? That's what I do with my mentees. Actually, not all of them, but 2 of them, because that's the way their mind works as well. So after a conversation, they always submit to me a summary of what we spoke about and what stood out to them and what they want to work on in the following week. So for me, it's a very, very connected relationship where I'm getting into their minds and into their hearts more and more and understanding how they tick. Because once I know what compels them forward or what doesn't compel them, what demotivates them, then I'm going to know how I need to respond to them. Because remember, you don't speak to people as you want to speak with them. You speak to them as they need to hear. So whether you're looking for a mentor or whether you're looking for a business coach, understand that you need someone that's going to work well with you. And I don't want you to look for an easy relationship. That's not what I'm saying. You need someone who's going to call you out on your bullshit. You need someone that is going to be strong enough in their self-worth as a business coach, as a mentor, to say, hey, enough is enough. Like, you need to draw the line in the cement, not in the sand, and tell these people what your expectations are going forward and making sure that they're adhering to them. So if they say that they're going to do something, maybe it's doing the summary, or maybe it's calling someone for a job or an interview or whatever it is, you're making sure that they're actually fulfilling that. Otherwise, you guys are just having, coffee chats. And what the hell's up with that? I mean, it's great, but I don't like that vapidness, that airiness of, oh, let's just talk about anything. No, let's get down to what's important and what's important for me to accelerate your life. How can I help you? How can I serve you? Because once you get into that conversation, just magic opens up. In fact, one of my mentees is now mentoring others. Can you imagine how amazing that feels? Woo! It feels amazing. It's something that I've empowered him to step into his leadership, because that's what you want. I don't know those people that want to have their coaching clients for 20, 50, 100 years. Well, maybe not 100, but understanding that the relationship evolves, and it's someone that you need someone for a certain amount of things, and then you should be evolving beyond it. Like when I have my seminars, when I have my business boot camps, if I'm going to be having one that's on the same subject matter, say 6 months down the road, I tell people, I don't want you to come to my event in the next 6 months if you've just come to this one, because you should learn from what you're coming to today and implement it into your life. Otherwise, have I done my job? No, maybe I presented something, but I want to challenge people to step into their brilliance, to step into their possibilities and uncover those success blockers that are holding them back. So again, looking at the relationship, whether it's going to be a mentorship or whether it's going to be a business coaching, what are you looking for? And if it's going to be a business coach, are you going to be okay with being held accountable, or are you not? There's one woman that she's an acquaintance of mine, and we had a conversation about coaching. And she said, oh, Jill, I'd love to hire you, but it's just not the right timing, and all these excuses in her head. And I already know that I wouldn't want to work with her because she has excuses. And then she started laughing and she said, oh God, you know what? I just know that if you told me to do something I didn't want to do, I just tell you to fuck off. And I'm like, that's exactly why I wouldn't want to coach you, because you're not coachable. That's someone that's getting their ego in the way. Someone that is putting themselves, like saying that, okay, I want to hire a coach, but I don't want to do what they tell me to do. Why the hell would you do that? Serena Williams, if she's double faulting all the time and her coach says, Serena, you need to do better. Woman, you need to stop double faulting because you're losing points. Well, what's she going to do? She's going to learn how to not double fault because her coach is telling her. Her coach knows what she needs to do. Her coach is her coach for a reason. Business coaches, they need to be able to step up, call you on your bullshit, and make sure that you're carrying through to your goals. Mentors, the same thing. It might just not be as not structured. It's going to be structured, but it's a different relationship. It's in my opinion, it's going to be more of an empathetic relationship that you're more holding space for people and also sharing with them what you've learned in your experiences. So thank you so much for listening and for watching today. Submit your questions to jillsinclair.com, as well as you can hit in there to subscribe, and also hit the subscribe button right here to be informed for every new episode that's coming out. Because again, we're going to build a tribe on here, having real conversations about life and business to make sure that you can uncover your success blockers. So follow me at Ms. Jill Sinclair on Instagram. And again, click the subscribe button to hear more.